All right, y'all. We are back. Austin, we got him in the building. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring him on, and we can go ahead and kick this off. So Austin, I got you on now, man. Can you say something? Make sure we good.
Hello, what's going on? You guys hear me okay?
Perfect, man. Sounds good. Thank you for joining. I appreciate your time, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I apologize for being a little bit late. Thanks for waiting for me.
No, man, it's all good. It's all good. Actually, I would love to kind of work through this one in reverse because I thought you were in Tennessee. I took a browse through your website, man. Did you go to Austin P?
I did. I actually noticed that you went there too.
Yo, man, hold on. It's only right. Let me share my screen. This is crazy. Because nobody ever knows like what Austin P even is, man. And like, I don't know if you can see my screen. I played ball there in 2013 when we were garbage. We went 0-12. And nobody ever knows like what Austin P is. And so when I saw that you went there, I was like, no way, that's crazy. So I thought you might be on Central Time. So no worries, man. But how was it? So I guess so you went to Austin P, man. What was the experience?
I mean, it was cool. Like, I'll be completely honest with you though, man. Like, I feel like I kind of got into that trap of like you know, how I guess everyone in our generation was like, go to college, you get a good job, and et cetera, et cetera. Like, and so I felt like I had to go to college like immediately after high school. I shouldn't have did
Okay.
like,
Okay. Fair enough. Are you from Tennessee originally, or?
Yeah, I'm from Jackson, Tennessee.
Okay, cool. So what is Austin P considered like, I guess, within the state, right? So you got your UT and you got UT Martin, Tennessee State and all that. So like where does Austin P really fall for people who are like from Tennessee? Like how like because we don't really have it. I'm in Michigan, Detroit. We don't really have like one AA schools. So it's kind of like you're either at the bigger kind of school, so Austin P is like an interesting mix. It's kind of like right in the middle. So like what made you go there and like, you know what I mean, based on where you were from and everything?
Yeah, so kind of mixing into like what I mentioned just a little bit ago, like for me, I wasn't like paying a whole lot of attention to like what college I was going to. Like in my mindset, it was just like as long as I'm going to college. And so ultimately, and this is probably a bad thing, obviously, but like I kind of ended up choosing Austin P because it was further away from my hometown. Like I felt like I wanted to be able to get away, it's a few hours away. Yep. But also it was a cheaper college that was affordable, yep. And that's kind of like the only thing that I really had on my mind at the time. And so, that's kind of like where I ended up. Okay. I wish I would have had like more of a career mindset at the time.
Right. No, all good, man. Same here. Like I was playing football, had no idea about tech. So I guess, man, I was so excited to ask you about that and just to kind of get to know you. But I'm Darian, man. I'm based in Detroit. I'm a product manager now. Backgrounds in software engineering, but like I'm always curious to just hear people's stories, man. My story is really unconventional. So obviously I played football there, but I actually got hurt my first year and like tore my MCLs, and so I left my second year, and so I actually don't have a college degree. So I love just talking to other people about like their path, how they found out about tech, and just try to share, kind of give back some gems for folks. So I love how you kind of shared that like you didn't know at the time, like what like the career path, because I know I for sure didn't. I guess what like I don't know, what that like lead you to, right? Like how like were you focusing on a completely different thing in college and then you got into tech later, or how did you make that pivot?
Yeah, pretty much that was the case. Like so like I said, I didn't really even know what I wanted to do at all when I got to college. Like so like for that first semester, I was undeclared. I didn't have like a major in mind at all. So I kind of just focused on like my I guess prerequisite core classes or whatever, trying to get those out the way. At the time I had it in my head that I really wanted to do something like in the creative realm and creative space. And so like, I don't know, I think I had the kind of stuff that I had in my mind was like, I was like really into the idea of like, being like a YouTuber or something. So I was thinking that I wanted to get into something that involved like, video editing or creating like advertising and things of that nature. And the only thing that Austin P offered that allowed you to be able to take like those video production courses was like broadcast announcing. And so I was like, I'm going to do that. And
it's crazy. Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah. So got into that. And then I quickly, I don't know, after like a semester or so, like doing that, I was just like, I don't know. I guess I started to have the feeling of like, I don't think I really need to like go. I don't need to get a degree just to learn how to like edit videos and stuff. So I ended up switching out of that into public relations, which the reason I chose that was because that was the closest thing to advertising that Austin offered. I didn't really want to do it, but I went that route.
Right.
So I ended up getting, that's what I ended up getting my degree in, majored in PR, minored in marketing.
Okay.
Yeah, to try to like skip over, like, I guess like my whole job history, I quickly realized like that wasn't what I wanted to do. So like I ended up transitioning. The first step that I took to transitioning into tech, or rather at least getting to Nashville, because that was kind of like the first stepping stone. I ended up taking a job working at Enterprise, right? That got me to being in Nashville, which was the first step. And then eventually I ended up hearing something about Nashville Software School. And so I started to go there, not while I was working at Enterprise. I ended up transitioning to working at TenCare. But while I was working at TenCare, I started going to Nashville Software School, part-time. And after going there for like their part-time program is like a year long. And so after that first year, and I graduated, I was lucky enough to be able to get a job like a week after I graduated.
Okay, cool.
And
okay, that's an awesome story, man. Like there's a lot really in there to unpack, honestly. Kind of want to go back to a couple of things you touched on. So
yeah.
So you took this job at Enterprise. Like what was the role? Like what would that look like? You know what I mean? Were you officially in tech at that time, or was that just like a stepping stone?
That was very much so just a stepping stone, because and I'll say like the first job that I got right out of college, I was actually a marketing manager for Austin Peay's dining service.
Okay.
I didn't like it.
Okay, yeah.
But I quickly got out of that. And that's the reason why I took the Enterprise job, because they actually had a recruiter that reached out to me and was, telling me about it and stuff. And see, the thing that a lot of people don't know about with Enterprise is that you actually can't work at Enterprise. You can clean the cars, but like in order for you to like rent the cars, you have to have a degree, which is crazy. I know a lot of people are not aware of that, but
it's crazy.
Like, yeah, like it is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But their mentality is like, I guess this is probably more so the reason, because that everybody that starts at that company, you have to start out renting cars. You can't even if you have like a degree and you are already working in corporate and stuff, you can't just transition into a corporate job at Enterprise. You have to start at the beginning level and work your way up into corporate.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, like not to spend too much time talking about them. Like I just took the job because I wanted to be able to do something different. And I also was looking at it as an opportunity to be able to make my way to Nashville, where there were going to be more job opportunities.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, so you had to like physically kind of place yourself somewhere where the opportunities are a little bit more abundant, basically, as part of it sounds like. And then, so from Enterprise, you said the Nashville school, something about a Nashville school, something like that?
Yeah. So I think while I was at Enterprise, that's when I started to have the idea of like, okay, I think I want to get into like coding and stuff, I had had the interest, but I just hadn't had the opportunity to be able to figure out like, how do I get into this? How do I figure out how to, make my way into this space? So I had started to like do like some self-learning at the time. Like I bought like some like a JavaScript, CSS, HTML book, started teaching myself a little bit about that. Started using like Team Treehouse and things like that. So I was kind of teaching myself, some stuff here and there. And then before I started going to Nashville Software School, I was just doing like self-learning, like little stuff here and there. But then I ended up transitioning into working at TenCare. And I was there for about 2 years. That whole first year, I was just kind of like, just doing the job, but they paired me with someone he was a data analyst.
Okay. Yep.
And, he actually went to school for computer science. So I talked to him a lot just about like, what I could be learning and trying to pay attention to.
Okay. Nice.
So like that, I was there for like a whole year, just kind of like, the job didn't have anything to do with code at all, but the stuff that I would get with him often, and he would show me what he was doing.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's nice.
yeah. But then after that first year, that's when I ended up finding out about the Nashville Software School, which is literally, it was just a software boot camp that they had. Where I was actually able to physically attend school.
Yep.
And that's what made it really like awesome for me, because that's for me. I need that kind of structure.
Yep.
Or at least in order to be able to get started anyway, I needed that kind of structure. I still prefer it, to be honest with you. But yeah, in any case though, like I started to do that, and that's what kind of like kicked me off into getting into like the tech space in a serious sense.
Cool. Yeah. So I went to boot camp as well, man. I love that. I mean, the story is wild. I mean, even going back to like before, so actually it was like when I was at Austin Peay, I also wanted to be like a film director. But like I forgot, I think they only had like theater or like or something like that. Like it wasn't like a dedicated film program. And so I did like corporate communications or something like that, just, because I'm like, plus my schedule was crazy with football. So like I was trying not to have a crazy academic schedule like that. So yeah, so I could relate to that. And then the boot camp piece. So I also went to boot camp. I second what you said about, it's just something about like, for me, it was having other people to kind of struggle with, like people who also were going, like you could realize that they also didn't understand things or had questions, and some things make sense to some people faster than others. You might get certain things faster that other people don't get. Like everyone learns really different. And so and then also having like a teacher and a TA to kind of like ask specific questions when you got stuck was super big. But I'm curious about like the self-learning too. Like so you were talking to your mentor or this guy you were kind of paired up with at work, but like, how did you in the early days, like decide what to even learn and spend your time doing? Cause I think that's tough.
Oh yeah, no, like without a doubt. I mean, to be honest with you, like I think at the time, all I did was I was just like looking stuff up, like just haphazardly, like on either on YouTube, Google, or whatever, just kind of like, how do I become a software developer?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
And pretty much the majority of the things that were popping up, it would always say like, oh, HTML, JavaScript, CSS. That's those are the things you need to look at. So I was like, all right, cool. And then as I started to get in contact more with my coworker that was at TenCare at the time, he kind of was pushing me more towards data, because that's what he was interested in and that's what he was doing at the job. So that's when I started to get a better understanding of like things like SQL and Python and stuff like that. I bought a the book was called Crash Course on Python. I think I still got it, actually. Like,
that's what's up.
Yep. Figured I'd grab this right here. So
I love it. Yeah. Free resource shout out. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I just realized it's blurred out, but yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. No, you're good. Love it.
But yeah. Like that kind of stuff. Like that's pretty much what I was doing. I was just going off of like whatever I could find that was like project based. Team Treehouse was actually like very, very. I really liked Team Treehouse. Like the way that they had their stuff set up was like, it just made a lot of it made sense to me. And that's the kind of stuff that I really appreciated at least when it came to like, self-learning. Free code camp, was it free? Is that what it called?
Yeah, I think, yep.
Yeah. Like I used that a little bit as well. So yeah, just like it started out with me just like looking up like, hey, what's important for me to know? What are the languages that I should be trying to learn? And then trying to find courses that would allow me to be able to like, it would make it easy for me to learn, some sort of like structure in terms of like learning. So
yeah. Okay. So I guess like your boot camp experience, what was that like?
It was pretty cool. Like but it's funny though, because I don't know if your boot camp, like kind of like displayed this and I can't even remember what it's called now, but it's like the valley, I think it's called Valley of Despair chart thing, where it's like
yeah, keep going.
Yeah, it's like where at the beginning it's like, you know, it's like it's a little bit hard, but then you get to a point where you're like, oh, I understand this stuff really, really, really well.
Right. And then yep, I remember something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like because that's literally what happened to me, like because like I had already been studying this stuff a little bit. I felt like I was a little bit ahead of the curve because there were some folks that hadn't looked at anything.
Right. Yeah.
So at first, like that first week or two or three, I might have been ahead of the curve. You know, I kind of knew what was going on, and then boom, they throw something in that I hadn't looked at before. Like I think one of the biggest things that kind of like had me like just like I at the time just did not understand it at all was like promises in JavaScript.
Okay.
And that was something that just like, I don't know, I was having a hard time just wrapping my head around it for whatever reason at that time.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's plenty of times like that. So I got two questions for you. One, how long was the boot camp? And two, like what was the curriculum? Like was it a front end boot camp, full stack? Like what was it?
Yeah, so the curriculum, it was well, so first off, it was, so like I said, it was part-time, but because it was part-time, it was spread out into being a year long. Like for the people that go full-time, it's only 6 months.
Okay.
Which just a little tidbit, I kind of feel like the people who went full-time, they probably got a little bit more out of it because that's like they're laser focused on
just
that.
Yeah.
You know, because and I noticed that just from like from like the end of the year capstones, like it tended to be the case that the people that were like in you know, going part-time, their capstones, I'm not trying to say like they were bad, but in comparison to the people that were like full-time, you could tell it was there was a difference. But in any case, yeah, so for me it was a year long, and then you said the experience, right?
Yeah.
So the experience, I feel like overall was really well, was really good. So in the first 6 months, it was front end. On the last 6 months, it was back end.
Oh, cool.
Okay. So it was really, it was awesome, really. You know, like the only thing is that they start you from, like I said, from the very beginning as though you were a beginner, which I was. I guess I'm looking at it from my experience now, but like they start you from the very, very beginning, like beginnings of like HTML, JavaScript, CSS, all of that. They slowly build you up to the point where by the end of that 6 month period, you will be able to build like your own final capstone project. You know, and then you had to present that. Everyone had to present their final project at the end. And it's the same thing for back end as well. That the back end was a little bit more I guess robust in that like you obviously have to have like a front end and a back end. So, but yeah, the experience was awesome because, you know, we had people that, because you were physically there with people, like, you know, you were having the opportunities to be able to like see what it was like to work with other people, you know, and also that same sort of, you know, situation that you mentioned, like there are plenty of other people struggling with the same thing you're struggling with. And so it's nice to be able to like talk to these people in real time. And so overall, like I said, the experience, it was really nice.
That's what's up. I like that. That's good. Yeah, my boot camp was like 9 weeks full time. It was intense. But I think it was good because, like you said, it's like you really, we had a back end boot camp, so we really didn't focus a lot on front end at all. It was Java, and yeah, I would just say that, like, I don't know. I think it was very fast, but I think it was good in the sense that it just made you immerse yourself. I guess it's how people talk about learning languages too, is like immersion is the best way to do it. I think it's the same thing. It's just like I meant like spoken languages, by the way, but like in this case, I think being immersed where you're around these other people who are struggling, I think that camaraderie and chemistry means something too. Like you start to befriend these people, have lunch with them, spend time with them. So like those relationships matter. Also, people talk about networking all the time, but maybe we can get inside like the back end of this call, because like I really hate when people kind of make networking seem like it's just this thing you kind of go out and do transactionally, when in reality, like the networking really does start in situations like boot camp. I can't tell you how many times, like I'm still connected to people who like have jobs other places, or like we just stay in touch, and you don't know where people's career are going to go, where they're going to go. So like, I think physically being with people, there's just so many benefits outside of just, I think it's, to your point, probably just a better learning experience, better learning environment when you're switching to something completely new like that. And you just got to be in it full time and spend so much time frustrated and stressed out in front of your laptop. It's nice to have other people to kind of share that with.
Most definitely.
So yeah, that's really good. What was the tech stack?
Tech stack was also on the front end. They taught us React. Well, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React.
Yeah.
And then on the back end, I had, what was it? C#.net.
Oh, okay, nice. Okay, and then what? So after you graduated, like, what was the kind of I guess based on your cohort that you saw, like, how did jobs go? Did a lot of people get jobs? How long did it take them to get jobs? On average.
So from what I can remember, I think most of the people in our graduating class got jobs. From what I can remember anyway. So in that sense, I think our class did really well.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's also a testament to like how well the school did in terms of getting prepared.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, yeah. So I think everyone managed to get jobs as far as
That's good. That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember it being the case that like there are people that just like didn't get jobs. But I can't say that I was like extremely, I didn't have my ear to the ground all the way in terms
of, for sure. I think it's always interesting too, because you get in what you get out. Like, I think some people think they could have no passion for this or no desire to do this or like do this type of work, and then they can just go to boot camp for a money grab. And it's like, one, I think that window has passed us by in this market, in the job market, just in the industry in general. But also it's just I just think like it's important to talk about that. Like, it's a very tough field to get into if you don't really want to learn and like learn all the time, because like it doesn't end when you finish boot camp. Like, I'm sure you had to continue learning and doing things, and it never is. It's a never ending process, really. That never stops when you get to a job, right? Or project to project, different thing. Like, you're constantly learning, so you kind of have to be that type of person to want to consistently keep going and learning. So I guess in my experience, like, our boot camp was more like you get in what you get out. Like, not everyone became developers. They might have gotten jobs, but like maybe they didn't become a developer necessarily. And then, and not everybody, maybe their aim was to become a developer. Some people have more of an entrepreneurial reason for going to boot camp. Some people wanted to, just get the exposure to those type of skills. So everybody's got different reasons for doing different things. I know a lot of people who also like went into it's like DBA, like database administrators or something like that. So they really just honed into SQL stuff, and that was all they did. They never did application development. They never, they kind of put C# down or Java, whatever they learned in boot camp. They completely switched for their career and then just kind of stayed in one thing. So it's always interesting hearing how people kind of navigate that and then take it into the real world, because everybody's path is different. Like my friend who most recently went to boot camp and graduated and got his first job. Like, he's now trying to go like the cybersecurity route and like IAM and all that type of stuff. So he's going more of like security and just like all that stuff, like that whole, I don't even get in that world, but it was cool because like he started out the same way, like C#.net, and then got to his first job and just realized that, he got exposed to new things and was like, hey, I think I want to kind of get into that. So I'm always just curious, once people get the skills, what do you do with it in your career? Do you continue to be a developer? Do people, like, I became a product manager. So it's just so many things that, like, when you have the skills and you kind of get in, you can kind of like, choose your path a little bit. So
and something that I think I might have even saw on your LinkedIn that you were working as a project manager. Like it's interesting because like I kind of had been thinking about the idea of like maybe switching into a role like that.
Yeah.
Like, so I was wondering if I could ask you the question of like, what was that like for you making that transition? Like, cause I know that you have to get like a certification in order to be able to, become, a project manager and stuff. And and then you also mentioned that you were a software developer as well. So
for sure. Yeah, man. Happy to. So, so I went to boot. So I'm a product manager, but I think project management is a huge part of what product managers do.
Okay.
Yeah. I did get a PMP, so I did take the PMP certification when I was kind of like making my transition to kind of strengthen my, just kind of to add to development stuff. So I wanted to have the kind of like project management thinking and background, but initially I was going to become a project manager, and I talked to a project manager who was like, you should look into product. So I didn't even know what it was before that. But really I went to boot camp because I was like entrepreneurial. I didn't really want to be a developer, but I had a startup at the time and I wanted to build, and I just always got kind of capped at the technical piece of it. So that's what I went to boot camp for. But then I actually did get a job as a developer after boot camp. So I was like, my career, I didn't have a career before boot camp. So like it was nothing to leave my job, right? Like it was fun. So I didn't really intend to become a developer, but like it just made sense. And like I was like, I mean, I wanted to learn, I wanted to do it, but at a certain point I realized like the ROI, I want to be an entrepreneur. So like I want to take that back to the product side. I already had been doing a lot of, this is why he told me I should become a product person, because I didn't even realize that a lot of the socializing and project management, the scrum and just team stuff and the business stuff, like all of that I had been doing for years and didn't realize that there was a whole career lane specifically for that. So having a software engineering background going into product honestly makes you like a killer product person, because the big challenge a lot of times is that people might have the business skills and even maybe the soft skills to talk to executive leadership, but they don't understand the weeds to be able to like. So that is the biggest value add, that if you decide to, and I'm telling you right now, your communication skills are amazing. So if you decide to make that transition, your software engineering background would be a huge value add for sure.
Okay, awesome. And thank you, by the way. Like,
yeah, anytime.
Yeah, like, because I don't know, like you probably have seen like at this point that you probably already know, like, I've been laid off now for at this point, I guess a little over 2 months. And so now, I mean, I was already kind of thinking about the idea of maybe transitioning into being a PM or being in that space in general, not necessarily a PM specifically. But yeah, I guess probably for some of the reasons that you kind of just like touched on, or that you kind of like left off on, was that like I feel like, okay, hey, I understand the technical aspects,
right.
Because I have that understanding, I would be able to like present whatever the bottlenecks are to leadership,
absolutely,
or whoever.
Absolutely, it's a huge value add. For example, the project I'm on right now, it's insane, man. They didn't have a PM for a year, and so it was just funny when I got here, like the PM work that needed to be done was not the traditional PM work that I was used to. All of it, like I have it. So we're on a huge AIML project, it's like enterprise corporate level. So the engineers are really bright. Like IBM people, like they're amazing. But the trying to communicate such a technical project and like the value of it from the business side to down to the users, but even the vision of like, where does this product take the company in the next however many years, like conveying that back to leadership. And then also the progress, because if you have a 3-year project, right, like there's going to be a lot of little steps to get along the way that year 3. So like being able to like really narrative storytelling, taking the data produced by the technical team, which they're awesome at, but like maybe translating that into a narrative the business can understand is like a challenge that happens a lot. And so like, yeah, like you just said, being able to talk about those bottlenecks or like present those things, it's the core of a PM. So yeah, man, happy to chat about that like anytime, dude. I love it. I enjoy it. And it, like you said before, it's like creativity too. It's really product positions you like so interestingly to impact a little bit of everything. You can kind of like you wear every hat still, and so like you're out, like you're not doing user stories or like developing and pushing code, but like you still very much are between every world, whether it's the marketing side, the sales side, the dev side, the agile and scrum. Like you're in every part of it. So that might not be for everybody, but if you enjoy that type of dynamic work, though, you know what I mean. It's like it is a great blend of all of it. So yeah, man.
Yeah. See, like I feel like that might be a space that I definitely want to check out just because of that sort of thing. Like, because like with all of the roles that I've had as a software developer,
Yeah.
like ultimately, I think so. So while I feel like I was able to do my job, I feel like one of the key components that I felt like I was always missing, and it kind of kept me from being able to like do more, is not really having like a higher level understanding of what's happening within the organization and where where I fit in that.
It's a big thing, and I try to be really good about that with my teams too, because like they need to understand the vision. Like it doesn't feel good to just pull the next user story and just do things for the sake of doing them. Everybody wants to feel like their work has impact. Everyone wants to feel like their voice is heard. So that's like the whole socializing part too, where it's really important how things get communicated. And like you said, it is important that like, okay, yes, there are certain things that maybe the engineering team doesn't need to be privy to, but there are things that like it would be nice for them to know. Or like you said, they might have curiosity or interest, and like they should be able to maybe ask questions or get some clarity around things, especially if it's like, where are we going with this? What are we building? Like, I think that's very fair for the engineers to be asking, because they should. You want your engineers to care about what they're building. Right. So like, yeah. So but it's all very important, because it all boils down to like relationship management, communication. It's a lot of non-technical stuff, to be honest. Like it's mostly non-technical stuff. But it takes the technical background to really be able to do that fluidly. And yeah, man. Yeah, I think this is a great conversation, because these are the things that I think like a lot of folks don't know, man. Part of what I'm working on now. So actually, going back to your story. So like I got laid off last year, for the first time actually. And
this is my first time too, by the way.
Okay, yeah, man. I know it's like it's not a good time, especially the job hunt and all that is just not. It's soul crushing. Like I was just there. I mean, I started my job now in January, just to show you how fresh it was. Like yeah. So got laid off last June, and the first couple months, man, I hit the ground hard. Like all the things, updating the resume, applying like crazy, all the things. And just getting beat down, getting tons of interviews and getting to these final rounds or whatever, but just wasn't closing anything. And like, it gets really defeating. It's very soul crushing. When I got to the point where I started to question myself, like, am I showing up a certain way? Like when I started to get to that point, I was like, okay, maybe I need to do something different. So I just put a pause on job applications to just like build an application. So like what you're doing with Whisper Notes, I'm excited for us to talk about that. Because I love connecting with people who build things and just like talking about that. So basically, I had this concept in my head I wanted to work on. I never had the time to do it. So at this point, I was like, all right, I haven't coded in a long time, and I just had. I feel like this is more productive than me feeling kind of shitty trying to apply to all these jobs and not getting where I'm trying to go, man. And so, hunkered down for a month, built the MVP, and then because like I said, that was always my perspective on tech, and coding was always to be able to build things and put ideas out and try to solve problems. So did that, and then kind of just got obsessed, man. I was like, I wasn't even thinking about the job hunt anymore. I was like, forget it. I knew how my money was looking and timeline. So I stopped really stressing about that. Still kept applying, but it wasn't the focus of my day, where like every day I just woke up and all day just apply. Like I was like, I gotta do something more productive.
Yeah.
I really got into this, got back into the learning, and was like, oh, like I started finding out all the new tools that are coming out, and just that's how I started to get. So I found out about Copilot, and it slowly started making my way to like everything else, like Cursor, Bolt, everything that was coming up, and just realizing that like, oh my God, like you still need to understand a lot of things, but when it comes to saving time and shipping things, especially if you are like a bootstrap startup type person, you are in heaven right now. If you know what you're doing, like you are in heaven right now. So I pretty much realized that, and I kind of stopped caring about the job hunt. And of course, that's when everything turned around, and started to get, you know what I mean. But I was so focused on this other thing, man, and just like trying to build this thing, and just, you know, so I guess with that, how did Whisper Notes come about? And like, tell us a little bit about that, man.
Yeah. So really, I guess after just being laid off, you know, like I said, unexpectedly, and I guess most people who get laid off is unexpected, right? But
Yeah, of course.
Like, I don't know. I guess I kind of just got to a point where I was like, all right, I need to do something. Like, I can't just sit here.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, let me try to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what ended up coming up. Like, it wasn't even so much that like I had the idea. Like, dude, I literally asked ChatGPT. I was like, what are some AI projects?
That's what's up. No, that's it. It doesn't, honestly, man, it doesn't even matter, especially, and that's the thing too, right? Like, it's so much about this industry, I think, is about like curiosity, just natural curiosity. Because things are just hard. It's complicated. It gets frustrating. You're gonna want to crush your laptop some days. You're gonna self-doubt some days, imposter syndrome, whatever, all that. But like the natural curiosity to just figure things out and learn, whether you plan to share it with people or not. Like if you found, however you found something that made you excited to be like, hey, I want to learn this, I want to build this, I want to dive into these things. It don't even matter if it was ChatGPT. You know what I mean? It's as long as you learn, man, and you enjoyed it. So I'm curious about that. Like, was it something you felt like, okay, this won't take me a lot of time, so let me just do it? Or did you feel like I'm gonna learn something new, I'm gonna try new technology? Or was it like I'm solving my own problem? Like what made you take that particular idea and like, I want to build this?
I don't know. I mean, it gave like a few different like options, and I guess like that one kind of just like, I don't know, it kind of just that for whatever reason, I don't know why, that one kind of just jumped out at me. And I was just kind of like, okay, yeah, let's just go with this. And nothing like, you know, really strong as far as like what motivated me to pick that in particular.
Okay.
But yeah, I grabbed it, and I guess just as I started to work on it, I think I ended up having someone reach out to me, and I don't know if you saw that in the first video where I was talking about the app initially. But someone on LinkedIn reached out to me, and she was like, you know, I'd love to be able to work with you sometime or whatever.
I love that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and the cool thing, so the interesting thing with her name is Becky, by the way, Becky Charles.
Shout out to Becky if you're watching. Hey, Becky.
She actually went to school for computer science. So she has a degree in computer science, but she never held a developer position before. And that, you know, and I think that kind of just stemmed from like some of the passions that she kind of had in general. Like, because if I remember correctly, I believe that she liked to work with kids and stuff. Okay. And so, like, I think at one point in time, she might have had like a instructor sort of role, where she was kind of like teaching kids like foundational stuff or whatever. But again, she never held a developer role. So she wanted to work with me, and so I was like, yeah, like this, we can work together on this particular project.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool, because it was like, that was my first time. Like, I don't want to say my first time, because I've held like a teaching assistant role before, but like this felt different though. This kind of felt like potentially like mentor-ish sort of situation. And that was kind of cool, like to be able to kind of like help her out with certain things that she may not have had like a lot of experience with. Like she didn't have like a lot of experience with like version control. So she didn't know like get commands and, you know, stuff like that. Yeah. So it was cool being able to like help her out, kind of like walk her through certain things or whatever.
I love it, man. And you paid it forward, it sounds like. I mean, someone did that for you at some point. Not even so much in the building project, but like that's a beautiful thing too. And that's why I like doing this, man. And I'm just so big on like, I don't know how to like the ecosystem. Like, are you still in Tennessee right now? Or
I am.
Okay, so I don't know how the ecosystem is. I haven't been down there in a while. My uncle lives in Mumford'sboro. I got another aunt who lives in, is it Lebanon?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so Lebanon, yeah. So I got some people down there. I just haven't spent a lot of time trying like getting into the tech scene. So I don't know how much it's like growing or how popular like events and like different things are. But yeah, man, that is awesome. Like I'm really big up here like trying to share this. And like I love that you gave back to her, because like I think that's the thing. Like it's so hard to get these jobs. And that's kind of the genesis of what I'm working on right now. It's so hard to get these jobs without how do you, if you have never done the things with other real people, how do you get a job in the 21st century, at least a tech job? And we're talking about like it's only going to get more and more competitive, because I think the lines are getting blurred, right? So with AI and stuff. And are you okay until top of the hour? I got us at 40 minutes right now. You good for another 20? Is that okay? Okay. So yeah, we can probably transition right now and a little bit into some of this stuff, because I do think that tech is just changing. The average job role in tech is going to be a lot more dynamic. Just because you're a developer doesn't mean you stay in developer world. Just because you're a QA or Scrum or product, like agile teams are very dynamic, and the roles themselves are becoming more dynamic with AI, because now you can expand a lot more. For example, we just made a move to Databricks, and there are people in the business who will rely on like information from Databricks to be able to visualize it, kind of like a Power BI for people on the stream, probably like visualizations like that. But they need to be able to query things, right? But so now Databricks and these tools have like genies, like little AI genies. You query, like, so people don't have to write SQL. I'm not saying the query is going to be perfect, but that's going to empower people who don't even know what SQL is, right? That's going to begin to open again the people's exposure to different things. You may have folks who are motivated, who take these things and start learning how to teach themselves faster. Because you have ChatGPT, you can learn things quicker with less roadblocks. So what's your take on just kind of where we're headed? So I guess maybe that's a better way to phrase it. When you started your career versus like how you see the tech industry today, what changes have you seen with like the job market, and also especially the influx of AI the last couple of years? What changes have you seen so far?
Man, I guess I have to say, like, what I'll say is that like it's scary. like even as somebody that's kind of like been in the field, for years at this point, like I like the whole AI thing. It's very interesting, in terms of like what could be accomplished. And that's probably the way that I guess would be most beneficial for folks that in this field to look at it. Not to be afraid of it, but also at the same time, I completely recognize the scariness of it too. Like,
absolutely, I get it. I do.
Because it's like, I'll be completely honest. So like when I first got into tech, I'll be honest in saying, like, while I did have an interest in the idea of like building and and just being in the space, like I really like the idea of it. Like I feel like I don't know that like coding per se that I necessarily have a passion for it per se. I think I like the idea of building things, like especially when it's the case that I find something that I'm like actually like I'm excited about, like
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I get
I can really get into it then, right? But but just writing the code, you know what I mean? Like I need more, you know what I mean? And where's I going with this?
We're talking about that. We're talking about the tech industry and the changes you've seen over the years.
Yeah, like I guess what I'm trying to get at is that like the good aspects of AI can make it to where like maybe you don't necessarily have to have like the passion for the code per se in order to be able to build something great. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping that AI ends up becoming. Hoping that it can end up becoming a thing where people will be able to use it as like a tool to be able to like beef up whatever it is that they're trying to make.
Right.
I
do.
But also at the same time, the thing that kind of scares me, which I think you might have seen like a lot of posts about this, like especially like on LinkedIn and stuff, where I feel like we get into the whole like vibe coding thing.
Oh, I hate the term so much, man. They got watered down real quick. Yeah.
Like where it's like, people they don't know too much about like what's actually going on. They're kind of just like letting AI kind of like build everything. And got insane amount of bugs. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course, man. To be honest, so I don't. This is why I don't like when these new terms come out, because like, what is vibe coding? Like, I don't even know how do people. I'm sure everyone has a different definition of what they think it is. Because to your point, if it's literally just like you don't even think, you just prompt, and you're not even looking at code, you're not even doing. If that is vibe coding, that's a bad idea. If you're trying to actually use it for anything other than like a prototype or something like that, is a bad idea.
Yeah.
But I also wonder, Austin, if that's going to be like the thing that creates more abundance. Like, are we, and again, I don't have a hypothesis. It's a question, right? Like, is that going to create a need for more people who actually can maintain these like applications that may have started out AI generated, but then like it becomes a freak down the road that people can't like manage. And so you need folks to still manage, because it's about speed to market. So you might still ramp up with AI to get something out, but when it comes to like, to your point, keeping a quality application in production, you'll probably forever need software engineers. Like, I'm still of that opinion because of the business side of things. Like, AI can't like find opportunities for a product in a market. It can't tell you the problem with a certain UI right now, or how you could maybe enhance. Like it'll never be able to really do that. And like, so it feels like I try to look at it through an optimistic place that it's going to empower people to do what they do well faster. But it's up to the company, the individual person, how they look at it, because I've seen it, man. It makes sense. Like, it would make sense why some folks might feel, let's say, like a little worried or threatened by AI and like not want the adoption of it at work, as opposed to try to embrace it and use it to like 10x what you're doing already. It's really a like how you look at it, glass half full, half empty type of thing. So it is really interesting, because I think like my first job was in 2019. Today, this is a different world. 2025, like it's a different world. Like, it's not the requirements that you could have got your first job in 2019 would not even get you interviewed in 2025. And that's just really the reality. I think first of all, I think junior roles don't exist. I keep saying this all the time. Like, I'm sure someone else like says that or wrote it about, but like, I'm just going to keep saying it, because I just think that when's the last time you even saw a junior? Like, people used to actually get hired as junior engineers, like as a job title.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I haven't seen junior anything for a while. Like, things have changed, man. It's very competitive. It moves very, very fast. And so that's why I liked Whisper Notes. I think that's like a great way to use that time, that energy, that motivation during a layoff to like not only improve like your skills and like learning, but keep yourself sharp. But it's like just seeing what's out here, like trying the things that are coming up. So can you talk about some of the AI you used and maybe some of the things you learned from that project? I know you talked about working with Becky, but like maybe just personally, like some of the things that you explored and learned a lot from just doing that project.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, that project was like my first venture into like using AI tools, like period.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very interesting to be able to kind of get to see like how that worked a little bit. I mean, I honestly, with that project, I really just dipped my toe in it, like, cause I realized that there's a lot more.
Oh yeah. For sure.
As far as like what I used though, like I used a few different models from OpenAI.
Cool.
The first one was the what was it? It was a speech to text.
Okay.
Feature, which is actually called Whisper, and that kind of like was in.
Okay, got you. Okay, cool.
So that was the first one, and then there was I forget like the actual name because it's kind of like long, like sort of weird name, but it was the embedding model that they had, which the embedding model, essentially what that does is it kind of like takes all of the words that like the Whisper model like transcribes,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns all of those words into numerical values,
Mm-hmm.
into this very super duper long list of well, it's just a list of numbers that they've converted from the words that you've used.
Mm-hmm.
And they use those that list of numbers in order to be able to like compare to like all the other like words that you give it, to be able to have like an understanding of like, oh, this is similar to this, so he must want this information back, sort of thing. So that in and of itself was interesting. And I believe there was like one more model too, which it was the 4.0 model where I used that to determine intent. So
okay, got you.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, it was an interesting project to to be able to kind of like see like how like prompting works.
Right. Yeah.
Like, at least how it works behind the scenes. Like I thought it was very interesting, like how you go about setting it up. Like you literally have to tell it like you are an assistant that's here to do blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? And you literally telling it exactly what you want it to do. It does it, and I think that in and of itself, it just feels like it's magic. But
yeah, no, I know it's getting fun and scary at the same time. Like the more fun it gets, it also gets scarier. It's like, they drop new features all the time. Like I don't know if you've had a chance to use deep research on GPT. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah, it'll make you like ChatGPT. So deep research makes ChatGPT feel a little bit like it's already back there a little bit. Like it's still good for certain things, but if you need to do some research on something, deep research is crazy. But then I don't know if the last time you used Siri, but like Siri is useless. Like Siri is useless. If you ever try to talk to Siri the way you talk to GPT audio, and she's like, listen to me over here now. Stop listening to me, Siri. But like, yeah, because I've started using the audio of ChatGPT on my phone, and like it's so nice to be able to talk to it and just like my door right now. I got a door I need to get rid of. I've never bought like an external, like a screen door. I need to get a door. I was like, where do I even start? I know it's gonna be Home Depot or Lowe's or something, but like, what do I need to do? What do I need to know? Blah blah. I used to pull your phone out and talk to ChatGPT.
I can't hear you.
Hello?
Oh, I hear you now.
Okay, cool. My bad. Yeah, anyway, Siri feels out of date now, basically, because of ChatGPT and stuff. So yeah, man.
Get that for sure. I heard that Siri was supposed to like didn't OpenAI get like some sort of deal with Apple?
I think they're going to. That's going to be a huge deal. I don't know when it comes out, or I think I saw something where I think there's going to be some iPhone that has, I think, AI kind of powered into it, which, I guess they thought Siri was going to be that. Like, it's crazy. They're going to have to rethink all that, but that's going to be a game changer. Whatever they end up doing where they integrate it with your phone is probably going to be crazy. Maybe scary too, though, because I don't want people being able to talk to my AI on my phone and get it to do stuff without me. Like, it's going to get weird.
I already was. See, look, I don't want to be like conspiracy theorists, like full throttle, but like also at the same time, like I was never a huge Siri fan myself.
No, I feel you. Me either.
So I don't know, the idea of it being like AI powered, now I'm kind of like,
yeah, it feels a little invasive, right? Like, do we need AI everywhere and everything all the time? It's nice in the right places when you use it at the right time. It's really nice, but like the fact that it's just and it felt like it happened really, really fast. It felt like ChatGPT came out at one point, but like a year later, everything and everybody has an AI startup. Every SaaS company, every platform is rolling out an AI feature. It's kind of overkill. And then it's not all cut the same, right? So like I use Notion. Notion has like AI writing stuff, but it's terrible. Like I wouldn't use it. So it's like I'm still gonna go to ChatGPT or use. So people are gonna start, it's just gonna be like weird. Where's all this go? There's so many tools, but like, what's gonna really last over time?
Yeah. And something that I think that's even crazier is like, it's interesting. It seems like the talk about it has kind of died down pretty quickly, but I still look at it as like a big thing to a certain extent. Is the whole situation when DeepSeek dropped.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Yeah.
Like, just because it's like, I know that like, it seems that OpenAI and obviously the other big tech companies, Google, etc. They have their AIs that are like really powerful, and people are liking them and stuff. But just the idea that like an LLM like DeepSeek exists and it's open source. You know what I'm saying? It's
Changes
like
the game. It's really crazy, and that's the thing. And what I really worry about, man, not even work. Okay, all right. This is me getting a little bit like extreme, maybe, but I worry about like how do we store all this data, like, or not even how do we all the processing power it takes to run all of this if everything becomes AI power. We already had a data like man, the data centers that we're going to need, processing units that like are going to, well, I mean, that's an open AI problem and like a Google problem. But if everything starts to depend on that, that's scary. Because if they flip the switch and take the chat GPT price from $20 to who knows, and everyone has now they've built all their applications around this. You've gotten used to using it for your day-to-day work and everything. Like, that's what scares me is if OpenAI starts to incur a bunch of costs on keeping all this going, because that's what we saw with Uber and Lyft. Like, it used to be really cheap to get an Uber and Lyft when they first came out because they had a bunch of investor money. And then when that ran out and they became, if any sort of profitable or anything, now they can charge you regular. Now it doesn't look so good. Same thing with Airbnb. So I think I worry that that's where we're at right now, where it's like, it's all cheap to use everything, $20, spend a year of tokens off that. I think that's going to change. Do you know there's a like 10,000, and it might even be more than that. There's like a $10,000 a month version of ChatGPT that enterprises use. So that's what I'm saying. They're already paying like buku bucks for more advanced things than we even have. And I'm like, what does that do?
Yeah. Dude, like, and it's crazy. Like, I think, okay, this is probably like one of the scariest things that I think out of everything, is the fact that like, and I don't mean to get political, but at the same time, it's like it's very much just like our world right now. I think, like, I don't know if you ever heard about like, about Andrew Yang?
Yeah. I was big on Andrew Yang when he was running for a while, man. I liked him. He was like real charismatic, and he's an entrepreneur background, so I like that.
Yeah, like I really like was rocking with everything that he was saying, like, and mainly because like I'm not like a political like fan in terms of like but like I liked him because everything that you had questions for, he had an answer to.
Absolutely.
And even if he didn't have like a full like solution to, he at least gave you the answer. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But anyways, to kind of like focus in on what I brought him up for is that he kind of talked about this idea of a fourth industrial revolution, and the main thing that he was talking about was AI,
100%.
and it's like, boom. And it's like, now here we are, you know what I mean? And what I'm afraid of is, AI kind of like taking people's jobs and stuff. I know a lot of times when that gets brought up, or when it was, especially when he was running at the time, when he would bring it up, like everybody's answer to that was just like, oh, well, like, well, in the same way that in the last industrial revolution, will disappear, but, new jobs will come about, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, but this is different though, because like, this is like, new jobs are going to come about, but the thing about it is like those new jobs are going to be about like holding.
It's going to be very different. Everything changes. And like coding becomes the bare minimum. It isn't this like I mean, you can become a architect, a senior software, like those things are very much there, but what it's going to require to get there though, and the level of experience that you're going to need is going to be very vast, very deep, right? Like just like, I don't want to say basic full stack development, but essentially those like skills are going to be very fundamental to a lot of things outside of just software engineering and understanding them too. Like I work like, so the job I got laid off from was a startup, and we were very small, like when I got hired, it was like under 20, and when I got laid off, we were like probably around 50 at the time. Long story short, though, very motivated, ambitious CEO, love him to death. And when he found out about ChatGPT, you know, he was able to start like building little things on his own. You get what I'm saying? And not to say that like it's gonna go out into production, they're gonna use it as a real tool or anything like that. That's not the point, though. You get what I'm saying? It's the point that anyone can take an idea and whip up something. Whether that's a pro and like as a product person, I'm seeing product teams right now. Product teams are trying to figure out how to use Bolt, how to use Lovable, how to use because there's going to be a new workflow between product and design and all these things. Like it's going to evolve. So yeah, man, we at the hour mark. I enjoy talking to you so much. I want to keep you over. We did have a couple comments. Let me get these up real quick. DeAndre, shout out to DeAndre, man. DeAndre, I haven't had a chance to meet you yet, brother, but like I'm really looking forward to getting to talk to you, man. So he says Apple has been full of false promises lately concerning Siri and Apple Intelligence. GPT is default on my phone. What?
Nice.
What? I didn't know they even had that in. You must have a new iPhone, DeAndre, like a very, very new iPhone. I didn't know they had it in there yet. So yeah, man.
Maybe you just mean the app.
It's default on my phone. Oh, got you. Okay. I got you. I was about to say maybe Apple got ahead of the game and already put GPT in there, and I just got the old version. I just haven't got the update yet. Austin, thank you so much for coming through, man. Where can people find you? Is there anything you want to shout out or like anything for the folks before we let you go here?
Man, I wish I had something. I'm like that's the other thing that I'm trying to work on now. Like I think I've tried to take this whole layoff thing as like a sign that I need to maybe try to get into starting my own business of some sort.
Yeah.
But yeah, as of right now, I don't have nothing. But you can find me on LinkedIn though.
There you go. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Look me up on there. Like I should be the first person to pop up, especially with my last name.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So make sure I go connect with Austin. If you're aspiring, like, it's really great when people are like open and willing to sort of connect. Not everybody is like approachable like that. So it seems like you're willing to kind of maybe chat with some folks you mentor a little bit, and it's nice you paid that forward because I think we all probably had somebody like that. They gave us some free gems or helped us learn, and so it's nice to be able to pass it forward. So reach out to Austin if y'all have any questions or anything on LinkedIn. Austin, thank you so much for hopping on with us, man, and hope we stay in touch and like get to do this again sometime. This is really good.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, man. This was awesome.
Absolutely. For sure, man. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.
All right, you too.